Hello and welcome to week 29 of the Dinosaw, another 7 curious, interesting things I saw last week, and apologies for the 3D printer noise. There's always something going on. It's on a 24-hour print and it's very exciting. I'm not going to stop it. First is sports view news. So anytime there is a new view in sport, or at least something that is deployed, then it's very interesting. So you've seen the likes of shoulder cam in MotoGP. If you haven't seen that, it's phenomenal. And helmet cam in Formula 1, that sort of thing. So this was actually a friendly game. It was actually billed as the innovation game, part of the Telecom Cup, which is sort of a set of friendlies before the Bundesliga, etc., etc. This was Cologne versus AC Milan, and you're seeing some of the players wearing body cams, which is what you're watching here, which gives you a great view. Now we've seen this obviously with referees and the like, but it's the first time we've really seen it with players. This is using the Mindfly camera system. Now other players had special boots on that were generating data. Others were wired up for sound. There were other things going on in the stadium as well. So it's very much the kind of the innovation game, which is obviously why it caught my eye as well. But there you go. So so that's new. If you're into football, that might be worth looking up because it was kind of cool. Some people thought it was amazing. Other people just thought it was a bit too far, a bit too modern. But there you go. This is Otherside. You may not know about Otherside, but this is probably as close as you're going to get at the moment to the metaverse, which is why it's worth mentioning. Obviously, the likes of things like Meta and all those sorts of things are kind of the Web 2 version of the metaverse, so they're just big multiplayer experiences. However, this has got some potential. So what you're seeing here is Otherside. Otherside had the first view yesterday, their first trip as they called it, which is what you're watching here. So 4,500 early adopters who'd all sort of signed up, got their little NFTs, connected their MetaMask wallets, done all that good stuff. They all sort of, you'll probably see when it loops around, they're all sort of hanging around at the top of this thing. This was Saturday, so yesterday. And this was the first view, so they all got to go to the swamp world for the first ever time. So what is Otherside? Otherside is initially it's I guess it's a narrative-based multiplayer game, but what they hope it will become, and what they're obviously hoping the first early adopters will become, is developers within this world as well. So it will be for the people, by the people, you know, a true version of the metaverse. Now clearly you've got things like other deed NFTs, which will give you access to things, and you can swap and all those sorts of good things. But yeah, I thought it was really interesting. It's a sort of as close to the metaverse as we've kind of got at the moment. I don't often use that word for various reasons, but there you go. Check it out, the Otherside. It was a big live stream, so you can probably find videos on the YouTube. This is a story from China, which is sort of a timely reminder, basically. So this was an author who had written a heck of a lot of characters, 1.3 million characters in a story, and logged on one day to her WPS account, which is the equivalent of kind of Office 365 or Google Docs, that sort of thing. It's a cloud-based Office suite. Logged on, and lo and behold, it had not only been censored, but it had also been locked. So obviously that then hit the press and all of the social medias. Now what had obviously gone on here is Chinese state say that actually all things have to be censored and looked through because obviously #China, and therefore that's what's gone on there. So it's a timely reminder that actually most of these kind of cloud-based office software platforms are not end-to-end encrypted. They are relatively open. So there you go. So rumblings, obviously Kingsoft, who make it, say they had to do it because other than that, it's a bit of a crisis of confidence in their platform at the moment. There you go. Just a bit of a reminder to you if you have anything sensitive on a cloud-based platform. Some good news in the sort of the fake news and the deep fake world. So I've often said that, you know, we're way past the point where we can detect these sorts of things, and the only thing that will actually save us against AI is probably an AI that will alert us to an AI, etc., etc. However, some great news has just come out of University of Sydney in that apparently your subconscious is much better at detecting deepfakes than actually your conscious is. So what they've done is they've actually done some brain imaging whilst people are doing a test to say whether they think these faces are fake or not. And when they asked, you know, are they fake or not, they got it right only 30 57% of the time. However, the data in their brains was actually getting it right 54% of the time. So clearly it jumped to a conclusion when, in this case, it's the one on the right hand side. If you want to know how to detect them, there are plenty of articles out there. I think Carl McDonald has a really good one. Go and check that one out. But how to spot deepfakes. So your brain is actually much better than you think at spotting these sorts of things. What they're going to do with it, they don't really know, but it does open up a sort of a field of kind of trying to figure out what the neural paths in your brain are to make these sort of decisions more accurate. There you go. The Nothing Phone 1 was launched or unveiled. It's actually been sort of flapping around in the sort of images for a while. However, it's now available. So what is this? This is a new pretender to the throne of I guess the mid-level Android phones. You don't see a new phone come across very often. This one is UK based. It's a London based company. And it's, as I say, it's Android based, and it's got some really cool things in it. It's the aluminium, as you can see in the case, is 100% recycled. Any plastic in there is 50% recycled of the plastics, and it has this really cool, what they call a glyph interface. So lights, as you're seeing here, that can light up in different ways. So whether you receive a text or a message or an Instagram, whatever, you can set it to do that. Likewise, ringtones, it can be synced with that. And some really neat things, so you can see when it's charged. Also, when the camera is on, it has a little red light. So it's a really nice security feature. It's wireless charging, that sort of thing. And it's only £399. So it's kind of squarely in the mid-level Android, if not budget Android. So really, really neat. If you're fed up of the main two, or so let's say Samsung and Apple, then this might be something to look at. Looks kind of neat. And by the way, the background is transparent. That's why you can see it. It's got that Gorilla Glass, but it's transparent, which is neat. You must have seen this during the week, the James Webb first images, although we've seen the actual kind of calibration image before. It looked, broadly speaking, well, almost exactly like the one on the left. However, they've unveiled some more images, and the clarity of them is phenomenal. It can also take images of solar planets as well, so or solar system planets. So we've seen things like Neptune and things like that come through in stunning detail as well. So there's a couple of really interesting things. It's it's a magnitude better than the Hubble, which is actually getting on now. But I think the most amazing thing is the depth it can see into time. So some of these, the light coming from some of these galaxies is 3.3 billion years old. So that's about 300 to 500 million years just after the Big Bang. So some of the earliest things in the universe. Absolutely mind-blowing. Some really interesting other facts as well. You can regale people at dinner parties, so you can see the little star formation, this kind of lens flare. That's actually because of the mirrors used, and also the struts in between the secondary and the first mirrors arrangement, which is interesting. If you look at Hubble, it has less little spiky things on it. That's where you can find out. And if you look at this image, there's some sort of slightly smeary, roundy, like grains of rice, kind of like warped. That's because space-time itself is being warped in this image, which is amazing. Anyway, go and have a check of the. You can either go to NASA or the webbtelescope.org itself and have a check out of the images. And finally, this is really neat. So this is actually by Ayub Attache, I want to call. That's probably totally mullered that name, but either way, real-time 3D artist, does some really cool stuff. Check out their YouTube channel for some really good experiments. This one actually uses a mobile phone, an Android phone, taped essentially to the back of a monitor. You can use the accelerometer data from that to then feed that directly into Unreal Engine, and you're seeing a real-time rendering of a room here. So I think this is really, really neat. It's really playful as well. I do quite a bunch of stuff in the out-of-home industry. I'm not saying this should actually be attached to a wall and people yanking out-of-home screens off the wall to do this, but this would be amazing if this was in a restaurant, for instance, and you could put together your custom salad and you can wiggle the screens and see what it might look like once it's had a vinaigrette dressing on it, all sorts of things. So what you do with it is up to you. My job is just to inspire. There you go. Interesting. Hopefully that was useful. Hopefully it was interesting. Hopefully the sound wasn't too bad. If you found it really interesting, then please do try and share it with somebody. It really does help. And I will see you next week.